What's up? Welcome to Visionaries in Progress on the Road. So, I am obviously driving. I know where I'm going. I don't need to look at my map or anything, so I'm not going to look at you, I don't think. But I want to see what happens if I record a podcast in the car, because my life is really busy right now, and as much as I would love to carve out really intentional time and space and sit down and have a whole recording set up and make it all like nice and fancy and stuff, that's not really conducive to the flow that is now. And I feel like it is just going to burn a hole inside of me if I don't start getting this out. So I'm getting it out, and I'm just testing this to see if I like this style. If you are familiar at all with me or seen any of my work or things that I've shared over the past several years, you'll know that I love to experiment. I have to try things and see how it works for me, and then based on that information that I gather, I decide how I want to move forward. So I'm giving myself permission to try this. I may not share this, but if I do share it, if you are seeing this, know that this is something I've never done in this way, in this format, in this style, in this capacity, and this is an experiment. If you're seeing it, it passed the test, and I decided to share it. Okay, I hope you're buckled up. I am. So, I also have been really hung up on where to even start with the podcast, because there's something about me that likes to put everything in order. It has to have everything in order, and it doesn't always happen that way. So what I'm doing today is I just went through my list of topics that I've been compiling for about 3 years now and picked the one that jumped out at me. I'm going to start there. It is, you cannot live in IdeaLand. Let's talk about it. What is IdeaLand? IdeaLand, let's just say for the sake of this podcast, I'm going to paint this picture for you. This is not an exact definition at all. This is just what I'm talking about today. IdeaLand is a place where all of your ideas that have not come into your reality in a physical way yet are alive. Some might call this your imagination, but I like to keep imagination and IdeaLand separate, because there's a difference between letting your imagination run itself wild and the ideas that you have attached some sort of meaning or some sort of purpose or intention or value to, that you want to do and are holding it there. Right? So, separating from imagination, IdeaLand is a place where, even if it's just in your mind, it's all of your thoughts of how you want to go about whatever it is that you're doing in the future or next. But you're not necessarily taking steps to do it yet. It's just hanging out in this other space. So, for the sake of this podcast, for right now, we're calling it IdeaLand. And I want to talk about something that I've seen happen a lot with people. I've done it. I feel like I've moved through a lot of this. I still do it sometimes with certain things. But I think at certain stages of the creation process and on a visionary journey, you don't even realize you're doing it. But those muscles in our mind, I'm saying muscles, I don't think it is a muscle, I'm calling it one. Please, I am not a neurologist, I'm not a scientist, I'm just giving words to things, okay? Creativity, imagination, envisioning, vision work, these are all muscles, for lack of better words, that I think visionaries and creatives have, I don't want to say overused, but they have a good working memory of them. They have great muscle memory. It's something that they have worked with a lot. So it's really easy to tap into those expressions, those parts of ourselves, right? And I know that there are some people, this isn't going to apply to everyone, but some of us in the visionary world are planners. I feel like there's some people that are not, people that are. Some of us are planners. We like to strategize, we like to plan, we like to plot, we like to think about how we would do that thing. And plotting and planning, making a list of notes, making all of the project files and folders and all of those things, trying to collect thoughts, vision boarding, all of that still on some level exists in IdeaLand. And I know that some people are going to disagree with this, and that's okay. Disagree with me. I just want to draw a distinction between organizing your thoughts in IdeaLand, actually plucking ideas down from IdeaLand to physically do something with in your reality. And when I say physically do something with, I mean not make another list. I do not mean making a note on paper that's visible. I'm talking about actually setting something in motion. If we do not consistently take those ideas and move with them, we will get stuck in IdeaLand, and you cannot build a house or a business or a foundation or a legacy or anything in IdeaLand. You have to build it here in reality. So how do you do that? How do you stop getting stuck there and then move from all of the thoughts and feelings that you've associated with your ideas and actually set it in motion? Well, especially when there's a lot of them. And I'm saying this because I feel like if you're listening this far and you're resonating with this, you're also probably someone who has a lot of them. They're all hanging out together. So sometimes it's hard to isolate one to pull down. Okay? So here's what I would say. I would say take a big picture view of everything going on in IdeaLand. Let yourself zoom all the way out in your mind, right? I want you to notice which one feels most resonant for who you are right now. Which one you have the most access to where you are right now. Which one you have the most resource for right here where you're at right now. Which one do you feel like you can move towards and start taking actual steps to bringing through in this reality right now? Just which one even comes to mind as you listen to me saying all of this? And then I would say, notice what about that thing is resonating most clearly with who you are right now. Because I think there's a connection between who we are and what we embody and where we are in our personal trajectory as a human and what wants to come through our vessel at any given time. You might have things hanging out in your IdeaLand for a long time that you want to do, that you're excited about doing, but for some reason it can't come through yet. That doesn't mean everything can't come through, and that doesn't mean we can't start pulling threads down. When I say pulling threads down, what I mean is think about things in terms of a sweater. Okay, terrible analogy, but that's what's coming to mind right now. Let's say that one of your ideas that you really want to do, this you can see it really clearly. It's like a whole sweater. And you're in charge of not only making the sweater, piecing it together, you're also in charge of making the thread. I don't know why this analogy is coming to me, but it is. You may not be able to pull the whole sweater down out of IdeaLand. You might have to weave the thread. You might have to unravel the sweater a little bit from IdeaLand and identify what are the smallest pieces I could begin pulling down and working with where I'm at right now. I'm gonna have to piece this whole sweater together on the ground. I'm gonna have to unravel it from IdeaLand and bring it through, right? So your idea that you've had, whichever one stood out to you as we're talking, what are the smallest things that need to be integrated and pulled through right now? And what is it about this version of you, this person that you are right now, what is it about you that needs that? What's going on with you personally that needs that? Because I think when things start coming through from IdeaLand, it's actually something that we need first. Even if it's something that we want to offer to other people, even if it's something that, you know, something I want to create or want to share it with other people. There's something in it for you though. So what is that thing? Whenever we can tune in to those aspects of our ideas, not just the, I want to do this and I'm excited about this and that would be really freaking cool. Whenever we can tune into what's most resonant, what we're resourced for, what we have the capacity for, what's available to us right now, what can we integrate and embody with our current version of who we are, and then start pulling those threads down, then start setting them in motion. That's how we get unstuck from living in IdeaLand. That's how. You're never going to be able to take all of those ideas and bring them down at the same time. It's just not going to happen because you're a human. You're a human. Unfortunately, we're all human. But it's like, we can't just like magically make something appear from the ether here when it's our job to create it. I'm not talking about manifesting. I'm not talking about where some people are like, oh, just, you know, envision it and imagine it here and it'll appear. No. You're here to create something. When you're the one who's doing it, you're going to have to take steps. So, identify what are those steps for you. And don't worry about what happens to all of the other ideas in IdeaLand as you knit the sweater. Because here's what's going to happen. The one that you resonate the most with, that you start working on, it's going to teach you something. Don't worry, they're not honking at me. They're honking at the crazy people that just sped past me and cut about 5 different people off in a great big safe way. But don't worry. I'm in a good spot. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, the one that resonates with you. When you start working on that thing, it's going to teach you something. Something really valuable. Something that you might have learned in other ways, but there's some version of that lesson that's going to show up in the creation process right now as you do it, that you wouldn't have seen any other way had you not started doing it now. And when that happens, it's going to start opening up other channels for other ideas to come through from IdeaLand in ways that you don't see yet. There's going to be something that you have to experience that directly impacts how you work with the other ideas in IdeaLand. And sometimes in that process, you find tools that you didn't know that you needed. You find skills that you didn't know you were good at. You will bring aspects of yourself online that you may not have even expressed yet. And someday you'll see that you needed to do those things so that the other ideas in IdeaLand are even possible. Could even happen. That's how you get unstuck. You have to trust that by pulling those threads down, by working with those lessons, by finding those tools, by embracing those skills, by embodying whatever it brings up in you, it's all part of this bigger picture and this bigger world and this bigger legacy that is wanting to come through you. And then I guess the next question that comes up in my mind is, well, then what happens to all the ideas in IdeaLand while you're pulling something else through? What happens to them? Well, depends on who you are and what they are and what's going on with you. Because you see, if we want to think of IdeaLand as a real place, I like to imagine it like this. Have you ever been to Six Flags or like some theme park like Disney World? You know it's operating even when you're not thinking about it, right? Things are going on there and developing and moving and changing and growing, and some things exist the way they are and they're going to keep on existing the way they are there. But it's in motion even when you're not thinking about it. That's kind of how IdeaLand works. It is a living, breathing place. And some of those ideas, they'll probably happen pretty close to what you're picturing. But some of them are going to morph and change and grow over time without you even thinking about them. There's going to be a day where either you'll have a new idea pop in or you'll have some time to zoom out and get a fresh view of IdeaLand. You'll notice that things have changed while you weren't thinking about it. You'll notice that you've had other ideas that have connected to the ideas up there in IdeaLand, and you'll be able to look around and see, oh my goodness, this goes with this, goes with this, goes with this. No wonder this, because this and this, they're all in the same neighborhood. You couldn't see it from that perspective yet. I had to have this conversation with a client of mine for a long time because for her, it was the excitement that kept her there. I mean, there's a reason why the analogy of the amusement park comes to me when I'm thinking about IdeaLand. It's also, what is that movie? There's a movie that has, well, come on, why can't I think of it? They go to the imagination. They're in the brain. It's the emotions. What is it? Inside Out? Is it Inside Out? Yeah, I think it's Inside Out. Okay. They go to the imagination, and it's this magical land where, you know, there's all of the past things that are in this person's imagination. They're just chilling. They're still alive and moving even when they're not being thought about, right? And it's exciting. It's like fun. It's like a fun town. It's like a fun place to go. It's a fun place to hang out for the day, but you can't live there. And for some reason, whenever I was working with this client, I noticed that she would get so excited about her ideas, and she could see all these different ways that this would be really cool in her reality, and she could really use her vision to map out and see, you know, that this would be so cool to do this, and I can see how it connects to this. But you can't make all of that happen at the same time. There was a disconnect between having those ideas and having fun mapping them out and making this like big beautiful plan, right? And identifying what are the steps to take. And a lot of times the steps to take in our reality are smaller than the bigger vision. I would say 90% of the time. 98, like sometimes you can do big leaps, but that's not everyone. Even if, you know, something that comes to mind right now is, I'm thinking, I don't know why, but I'm thinking someone's gonna hear this and be like, well, that'd be really nice or whatever. Like, if that's all I had to do, you know, I have my life and I have my job and I have my kids, and it's, you know, it would be really nice to imagine this big change, but big changes don't come often. It's those small things that you build out over time. And so what helped her is whenever we identified, okay, where are we at right now with this thing? What's the most immediate thing that we can start working on that would go towards this bigger vision with what's available right now? And for her, that was actually making a change at home. That by making that change at home, she would have space to begin working on the thing that she wanted to make. But without that space at home, it wouldn't matter. You know? That's something else. It's like sometimes the step doesn't always feel directly correlated to what it is that you need to do. Sometimes it's making space for what it is that you want. It's identifying, okay, where in my schedule do I have time to even do something about this? Or what is something that I need to give up temporarily so that I can make space for this thing? Sometimes it's, I just don't have the materials. Sometimes it's, you just need to start. Sorry. You just need to start. And then someone's going to say, but what if I've already started? And it's overwhelming. Because I see the bigger picture. And I just want to be there. And to you, I would say, I feel you. We all just want to be there. IdeaLand is so pretty and shiny. It's easy to picture our version of what that is. I would say the fact that you can even see it is an indicator that on some level you are there. And by you taking those small action steps every day, you're making that picture more available in this reality every step of the way. I wish I had some quick, like, oh, just do this one thing. It'll solve it all. Answer to give. But that's part of it with visions, with our ideas, with the things that we want to create. Sometimes it takes a lot more time and effort and smallness to get there than we'd like. But that doesn't mean that we're off track. And it doesn't mean that we're delayed. It doesn't mean that we aren't doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. It means that we're human. And we do what we can with what we have until we're able to do the thing that we want fully. You gotta start here. You have to trust that when you start taking those steps, IdeaLand is gonna be okay. You can walk away from it. You don't have to babysit it. You don't have to keep it on your radar. You don't even have to think about it every day. You don't have to do those envisioning techniques all the time. I think that helps for some people in some stages, but not when you're stuck there. I got stuck there once. And I thought that just by envisioning it and imagining myself as that person and all this would make it happen. And it helped me see myself that way. But it also made me disengage from what was happening right in front of me in my reality. And I don't think that's a good place to be. So that's why I keep saying you can't live in IdeaLand. You can only identify what's available right now, what you have resource for, what you have capacity for, what feels most resonant with the version of you that's alive right now, and start bringing those threads through. One day at a time, one step at a time. And every once in a while, you can look back up and check on IdeaLand and see how it's changed. Or you can add to it. You got to stay down on the ground. Because that's where the work is done. That's where you're going to live. That's where you're going to be. That's where all the groundwork happens, all the foundation, all the lessons, all the skills. They happen down there. IdeaLand is the fun part. That's the easy part. You don't have to work on that. That's magic. That's epiphany. That's spontaneity. That's natural. It's what's going on down here on the ground that has to be worked out. So that's your job, is to work it out right here where you're at. Right here where you're at. Let's see if there's anything else on that topic. Here's something else on that topic. Can't show it to you right now because I'm driving. My favorite place to organize and plan and archive and store and manipulate IdeaLand is in Notion. If you're someone who has like a quadrillion different ideas and you have, I would say, an overwhelming amount of ideas to the point that you're like, there's no way I could do all of this, or I don't see how I could ever do all of this, but I'm excited about it, but I don't know how I would do it. Notion, because you can customize it completely for you. I have a page for all the different things that I'm working on, and I have entire like archives of notes that I've made over the years, and as they drop in, I've reorganized it a couple times based on what I'm doing, but that's the beauty about it. You can just click and drag everything around. So there's like the archives, there's the garden, which are things that are percolating, but they're not like the focus project. There's pages for like what's happening in my reality right now, what I'd like to do this month, what I'd like to do this year, what are the projects that I need at a glance, you know, in the sidebar that have their own page. You know, the podcast has its own page where I keep notes of these are all the different topics. Notion. That's what I would encourage you to look into if you haven't already. It's different than having a journal because I like to access it on the go. So I have the notes, or not the notes app on my phone. I have the Notion app on my phone, and you can open it on your desktop as well. And sometimes if I write something in my journal that I want to add to Notion, I just take a picture and add it to that page. So, highly recommend. There's other tools that you could use. I've dabbled with a lot over the years, but that one, I feel is just, and it's free. There's a free version. You can use it for a long time before you would ever have to pay for it. You would have to have so much stored on there in order to have to pay, but it's worth it. I paid for it. I have a whole bunch of stuff in there. It's worth it. It saves your brain. I feel like before I started organizing my stuff on Notion, I couldn't walk away from IdeaLand. It's like I felt like I had to babysit it all the time. But knowing that it's all there and I can come back to it at any point, add or change or edit, helps me. I'm an external processor. I need to put it outside of me. I have to see it outside of my head. I cannot just only think about it. So if that's you and you don't have a place to store it yet, I would encourage you to do so. And not to say that getting it out on paper doesn't count as setting things in motion. It's just different than taking those steps. You know what I'm saying? It's just like this podcast. It's one thing to make a list of all the topics I'd be excited to talk about and feel like are important, but it's different to then pick a topic and do this. You can't see what's on the other side until you start actually acting on it. Okay, well, whoever you are listening to this, wherever you're at in your life, whatever you're creating, whatever you're building, whatever you're dreaming up, I just want you to know I believe in you. You are a visionary, and you are en route to seeing those things happen in your reality. I would love to hear how this lands for you. Do you feel like you're in IdeaLand? Do you feel like you're stuck there? Are you on the ground? Are you trying to tune into your IdeaLand and pull things down? Let me know in whatever way. I don't know all the ways, but let me know. I'd love to hear from you, hear how you're doing, and yeah, well, see you next time.